Star up, head coach debut. We all feeling good enough to give a star up to Brian Schottenheimer? I am, as he was emotional before the game, as he told the NBC crew during the anthem. He's always talking to God and his pops. So the tears were flowing for Brian Schottenheimer.
It would have been it would have been disappointing if, like, because he has been waiting his whole life for that game, the first game of the season, first game of your coaching career, first half of the first game. Every play, you had all off season, the script, all those plays you wanted to get out there and run. It would have been a little bit of a letdown had those not been okay, because that offense was cooking in the first half.
Fun.
The pace was fun. I really enjoyed the offense in the first half. Stalled out a little bit, and look, and some penalties that Philly had helped it along. That's part of the game. It happens.
Some drops too.
Yeah.
Some drops.
Some drops also kind of stalled out the offense.
Stalled out the offense in the second half. Yes, the first half though, it was cooking in the first half. So I was feeling pretty good about it. Now you get in the weeds of the season, and now you see what happens, game to game. But I don't think you can have a negative viewpoint of Shoddy in the first after week one.
Chris Collinsworth was talking about the new offense with quick motions and tight formations. It felt like they were being choppy type aggressive and going down the field. And you have that with Pickens now. Like, hey, screw it. It's 2nd and 18. Chunk that mother up and let George go up and get it or draw a penalty. You can now go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I mean, opening drive, it's 3rd and 1. And what they run play action and throw a deep corner to CeeDee Lamb 30 yards down the field. Like, I mean, it wasn't just your standard, what I think people have come to believe about Brian Schottenheimer's offense. Last night, if you look at the clock management to end the first half, the decision to start Tyler Guyton without any practice when people wondered if Nate Thomas should start, the decision to make Jaden Blue inactive and ultimately still have success with the running game. They had 119 yards rushing last night. The first time they got to 119 yards rushing last year was week 9. So, they were having success. They were moving the ball. Guys, CeeDee Lamb and Luke Schoonmaker in that final drive, in the final 2 drives, they didn't finish plays. Otherwise, this is a different outcome. But I thought there was one call all night that I could think of where I was like, I didn't love that call. And it was on the second to last drive. It was on 1st and 10, and they ran like a stretch run to Javonte Williams, and it lost 2. And I was like, I don't love that there on 1st and 10. But
I mean, look, they scored anyway on the drive. I didn't love at the end of the first quarter letting the clock run out. I mean, you had them on their heels. Just go. Just put the hammer down. Don't give them a breather.
I loved the way they throttled tempo, though. They consistently, when they had a big 3rd down conversion, they would immediately go to tempo and put them on their heels. That's what they did after the 3rd and 1. They did that after the 3rd and 2. But they would start tempo, then they'd slow it down. Then they'd go up to the line with tempo, and then they'd slow down before they'd snap the ball. They were doing a lot of different things to really kind of play with Philadelphia. And I thought that was full-on A grade for Brian Schottenheimer.
I agree. I think the only little other small criticism I saw of him was not getting the play off before the 2-minute warning in the 4th quarter to give yourself an extra timeout.
Right, yeah.
I don't know whether they felt set and all that, but dude, you knew it was going to be a circus here, right? We said this to Schottenheimer when he joined us the other day. You lose your best player, you go into Philly, you have a rain delay, you got a spitting incident, you got CeeDee Lamb drops. Brian Schottenheimer, after his first game was done,
I think they were great. I mean, I think the defense did great. It's not our first rain delay. We've been through it, Pittsburgh last year. So similar type thing. The league did a great job communicating to us, hey, what time we think we're going to go out. And we have a plan in place for that. Those are things you plan on. But, again, no excuses. We just got to find a way to finish that game.
Jerry Jones was pained. He was proud but pained afterwards in saying this was a great effort. We're happy. I wanted this one for Schottenheimer, though. I wanted this one bad for our head coach.
Well, I don't know how you even qualify need to see something. Boy, he had this team ready to play. And he had them prepared. He had them prepared on all sides of the ball. And he had them mentally ready to play. And I'm just sorry that when it got right down to it and we need to make those plays, we didn't get them made. But we all know we played a good team out there tonight. We played them at their home, hostile environment. Brian's first chance to really be a head coach and stepped out there. And in my mind, he didn't let his team down. Do you think they didn't let him down either, in my view?
So star up to Brian Schottenheimer, weekly guest Fridays, 8:20 on this show and station. I'm going star up Dak Prescott. Jerry said afterwards, and the numbers do not bear this out, that that's one of the best games he's ever seen Dak play. You got to remember how long it's been since Dak's last regular season action was with the injury. And when he was walking in the stadium, Bobby, you started changing your mind about the game a little bit.
Just made me wonder, because you walk into football games and like 90% of the time when you go into an NFL game, Vegas may have their thoughts, fans may have their thoughts. 90% of the time, teams usually walk into that knowing who's about to kick whose ass. They usually know. And so when Dak is walking in and very purposefully, in like a silk romper basically, walking by the media and starts singing out loud, not mouthing the words, singing out loud for media to hear, "Fly like an eagle," as he's walking by the media. It's like, okay, what do you know that I don't know? What do you know that we don't know, that you are confident enough to walk by and do this? You're confident enough to stare and smirk at Jalen Carter. You're confident enough to walk right up to him and face to face. I will say that energy, CeeDee Lamb making the catch, and then it obviously turned around later, but looking up at the crowd and like he's waving at the Philly crowd and some of the Javonte Williams stuff, the culture and everything else that Schotty's trying to establish, the like energy that he's trying, it was on display within their play last night.
CeeDee robbed him of better numbers. The numbers, if you didn't watch the game, you're not going to agree with me or Jerry afterwards, but 21 of 34 for 188, 5.5 a pass. I mean, these are stunning numbers to me with how I thought he actually played. The QBR was a 58-7, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I thought he was much, much better than that. He was active. He wasn't limping around, dragging the piano with the mobility. And again, CeeDee robbed him of a lot more yardage and maybe even a touchdown or two. I have no hesitation to giving Dak Prescott a star up.
Me either. I mean, and when you say the numbers don't look as good, how many throws last night would we say that was a great throw that wasn't a completion? 5?
It was a great throw.
You had the one to Ferguson in the end zone. You had the one to Pickens that was pass interference down the sideline. You had 2 of the CD drops. You had the Schoonmaker drop. That's 5 right there. Like where they were, like the one to Schoonmaker to me is one of the best throws I've ever seen him make, and it wasn't a catch. That the way, like I mean, that was put right on his hands between 2 defenders. That should have been caught. And so to me, like I thought there were a lot of throws he made last night that were like, that's the old Dak. That's not the same guy who was out there on the field last year who, even before he got hurt, didn't look right.
Here's Dak on how he played.
I got to go back and look at it. It was fun just to be out there. Super thankful and blessed to be back into the game. Back with those guys, that line, that group, those receivers. Just felt good. Felt great out there. Obviously, there's some throws, particularly, right, a couple to one to Jake right there, one to Brev. I want to get a little bit higher, give them a little bit more catchable ball, but I feel like I played a smooth game.
Now, he threw a couple where he got his guys murdered, so I was taking that.
Yeah, hospital balls, that happens, though. Like, you can't worry about that.
They got to fix the seam throws. The seam throws are a problem.
Star up, star down. Your Cowboy Report card brought to you by Wild Fork Foods on Shan and RJ.
The interior of the offensive line, especially in the first half. They were running the ball pretty well in the first half. I was really impressed with Javonte. He looked like he was, pre-injury for a minute there. Things those stalled out a little bit, but I thought all 3 guys, Beebe, Smith, Booker, on the interior, played a really solid game.
Dak said they changed the entire game plan as soon as Carter got tossed. They changed everything.
That would make sense.
Cowboys finished this game averaging a yard more per carry than Philadelphia did. Philadelphia ran the ball 19 times in the first half and 19 times in the second half. In the first half, Philadelphia was 19 for 123. In the second half, they were 19 for 35.
I got some people sending me, messages on social media about, Saquon. They had the over 24.5 rush yards in the first quarter. He had a 16-yard run, and he still didn't hit it. What happened?
I would say this is a tough star up, star down in terms of because you feel like there was so much give and take at different points of the game. I do think that you mentioned the interior of the offensive line. Tyler Guyton deserves a ton of credit for not practicing basically for a month, 6 weeks, whatever it's been, going into a slick surface in a hostile environment. As Jerry said last night, he's like, I don't think we had any pre-snap penalties tonight. And he's like, and Tyler Guyton was kind of like emblematic of pre-snap penalties last year, and he didn't have any of that tonight. And Jerry, like when he was walking back to the locker, that's who he was walking like arm in arm with to the locker was Tyler Guyton, and just telling him how proud of him he was and how he went out. Jerry's like, I don't even need to go back and look at it. I know he played well, and I know he played the way we need him to play. And so I think Tyler Guyton deserves a big star up. If you want to talk about star down, obviously other than a CeeDee Lamb, something like that, the next man up, the next up pass rushers and all the depth we heard about didn't do enough to get home with 4 rushers. And I know Sam Williams at times flashed. I thought overall Marshawn Nealand had a really good game.
Collinsworth was in love with him.
I thought Nealand was really good. Nealand is starting to look like the DeMarcus Lawrence starter kit that they wanted him to be. Like over the summer and into this first game, he's showing flashes of being able to do some of those things. But the fact that the pass rush could not get home until they started blitzing corners, that's a problem.
So the biggest question moving forward after this game for me is how much are you buying into the defensive adjustments in the second half after the rain delay? How are you really feeling? Because for the first half of that game, it was Groundhog's Day all over again. Excuse me. Helpless on defense. Absolutely helpless. Now, the Eagles were helpless as well, but I don't care about the Eagles. I'm not worried about them. The Cowboys have all the defensive questions, and they didn't have their best players. Everyone made the joke. We lost our best defender. They may as well lose their best defender. But man, it's just a helpless gashing that made me feel bad for the offense, and Dak and Schotty right off the jump saying you're going to have to score every single time out. And then they start blitzing the DBs a little bit. And then the interior of the defensive line steps up to a degree. And the Eagles out. And I'm like, all right, you had your opportunity. They still had one more offensive opportunity after I thought it was already done, that they had already blown it because they had gotten 2 straight stops, and I was ready to throw a parade. And the great question was asked to Jerry Jones afterwards, did you miss Micah in this one?
Well, anytime you have a great player and don't have him out there on the field. But I specifically was watching a lot of the guys that were taking up the slack. Might have been in this spot. 54 had some really significant impact on their offense. And so all in all, this group adjusted, made the adjustments. We stepped up in the second half on defense. Didn't quite get it done like we did in the first half on offense. But that type of thing does give you courage. I'm sorry, though, that we lost the game. Been a fair team to step up here and beat the world champs in his first game. But it doesn't always happen the way the ropes in the rope. But I'm pretty proud of this team.
Star Up, Star Down, brought to you by Wild Fork